Okay, so here's the FS90 four-stroke engine that I guess I'm going to be doing a disassembly video series on. There were plenty of people, or at least several people I should say, that seemed interested in this, so let's see how much of this I feel like getting through tonight. So as I mentioned in that first segment, I already loosened this up, I just haven't taken that out. And I mentioned that these two screws were not metric and not right, so that's why this wrench is dark. It's my SAE one, which just, this whole thing just really sucks. That's a really long screw. That is a really long screw. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. That one might be one of those things where I just kind of, I threw these tools out here just for looks. Might be one of those things where I maybe try throwing some JB Weld in that hole and see if I can re-tap it using the proper screws or even these. So let's get this carb off here first. Just drop right off. Carb is a little gummy. It needs to, oh yeah, it's a lot gummy. I'm gonna need some pretty good cleaning there. Let's see if, what is this? This is a 12. Yeah. Let's take these rocker cover off next. Hopefully there's no surprises under here. This engine might end up actually giving us some surprises, which there's always that possibility, but like I said in the first segment, the eBay ad said this was just, I don't know if the word rebuilt was done, but I think definitely saw that it said bearings had been replaced. So basically someone has been in this engine recently. Now whether they ran it or not, after that I can't say. It's got really nice compression, and it looks like it comes with, it looks like a brand new plug. It looks to me like potentially a brand new K&B plug.
That looks an awful lot like
a K&B four-stroke plug, which is pretty darn cool. I don't come across those very often. So I think what we need to do here is, unfortunately we're going to have to get this head off, there's a screw right under here. So I'm going to have to get this shaft out first by loosening up these. Let's make sure we don't have any pressure on them. And this, yeah, this should just come right out. Yeah, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of issues with this, just because of the fact that it said that it was recently, God, I'd have to go back and look. And by the time I edit this, maybe I'll go back and look at what the actual article or the ad said. Rebuilt, or I know it said for sure bearings installed, which obviously has to be disassembled to get the bearings out. So it's been disassembled, let's just say that. So yeah, the other head screws are, yeah, they're underneath this bracket here. So now we can loosen up head screws. Oops. That size? Oh, okay. pull that one out. I think we have two different length head screws. I believe the rear ones are longer. Yep, rear screws are longer than the front. I don't know if I am more concerned about disassembling an engine that somebody else has already been in or one that has never been disassembled, honestly, because I'm seeing, now I don't know for sure if when this was disassembled or redone, if it had been run after that, but I mean, the evidence to me here shows me that it wasn't cleaned. So anybody that, you know, in my opinion, anybody that disassembles an engine and replaces bearings and doesn't clean the engine is not much of a engine service person, because I mean, I can just tell that that hasn't, it certainly doesn't get looking like that from one or two runs. And this just doesn't look like, if this was just recently serviced, I mean, the underside of the head looks really nice, but I'm not seeing evidence of that this thing was very well cleaned, if at all. Did I have both of those pushrod seals? Maybe it's missing a pushrod seal too. Because there's not one on this, but there's one here, and I didn't see one come off on one of those. Unless it came off and I flipped it someplace. I don't know. I don't think I did. But even the top of this head doesn't look like it's been in an ultrasonic cleaner at all. Otherwise that would be really, really clean. I mean, overall this engine looks like it's in pretty decent shape thus far. Let's see if that has been tampered with in any way. I'm going to take this out completely so that I don't lose it in the ultrasonic. Alright, so that's kind of the nuts and bolts here. Ha 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 ha! What do we want to do next? I've already loosened this. Go ahead and take this thing off, I suppose. So here's that very brittle retaining screw that you don't want to break or wallow the head out. It's pretty small, very fine threads. Okay, so now we're to the point of rear cover or front cover. What do we go for here? Let's do this. Rear cover. I don't know that it makes much of a difference at this point. The kicker is, what are the gaskets going to do? Were they replaced? Were they reused? Will they come off cleanly? Will I need to buy more? All good questions. Yeah, I don't know what bearings were replaced on this engine, but it certainly doesn't look like these in this area were replaced, because this is not clean and that gasket is. So I'm seriously questioning the ad at this point. So here's our timing wheel in here, and we've got, you know, cam followers are still in here, And basically what's going to happen here is this thing just gets pushed out. This timing wheel just gets pushed out. I don't have my vise here, but I might be able to do this just by doing this. Should just, should just pop right out of there. Yeah. Let me see if I can hold this. And there's our timing wheel with the camshafts. Very oily. Or not the camshaft timing wheel combination thing, I guess you could call this. So you got cam lobes here, timing mark. Now this has 3 screws in it, but you don't take this thing apart. You never take that apart. There's no reason to take that apart. It's just the way it was made. So here's bearing number 1. It'll have to come out this thin one here, and it feels really rough. So that wasn't changed. And then there's a bearing here. I just can't recall off the top of my head if that bearing goes out this way or this way. I think it's this way. But so there's cam followers in here, or tappets I'm gonna push out. And they look like this. They're like a T-shaped thing. These are kind of tricky to get back in there too. That one feels like it's stuck. There we go. Because you have to try to finagle them up in there. You have to get them in there like this. You have to kind of drop them in there and use pliers, really thin pliers, to kind of finagle them up into position. So that's all there is to this. This definitely, it wasn't cleaned. I mean, I don't know if what I read in that article or the ad was actually true or not. I'm just more trying to remember which way this bearing comes out here. I know obviously this one has to come out this way, and is all I can think to do with removing this one is I think it's just going to have to be one of those things where you have to heat it up and slam it and hope that it has enough mass and you can get enough inertia to get that thing to come out, because otherwise I'm not sure how to do that. I don't know if you can get an edge on that thing or not. I have to take that bearing out first, but bearing removal and replacement is not something we're doing on this video anyway. But I'm sticking my finger in here, and I feel like I'm feeling a lip up here at the top, so that when this bearing comes out, maybe I can get in there and start tapping it that way. But there's definitely no lip anywhere else besides the very top here. So I don't know, maybe I can tap it out that way, and then maybe this one comes out this way, I'm not sure. So we'll just have to wait and see till I do my bearing removal video. And so let's put that rear cover away. I don't know why I have all of these things out here. So here's the timing shaft. And there's a big C-clip, retaining clip there. I've got so many tools out here. I think I can go ahead and get that clip out now. Just got some round nose pliers here that so I've got that thing starting to come out. I don't know if I can finagle it here or not. Yeah, there we go. So there, that clip is out. There's another bearing here. So now it's to the point of needing to take this front housing off. I'm gonna take a couple of seconds here and clean my bench up real quick. I'm getting a few too many tools out here laying around. That screwdriver goes there, this goes here. This, where is that larger? Okay, let's see how these come on. That wasn't all that tight. That wasn't all that tight. That wasn't all that tight, so I don't... There is an orientation even though it's square. This little protrusion here denotes the bottom. So I guess I'm going to be ordering gaskets. So I wonder if the person that thinks they changed bearings in this took the front housing off and replaced the front bearing and the rear bearing on the main front housing and thought they were done. I don't know. Maybe that's all they thought. The only bearings they either knew about or had the skill level to replace or what. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see if there should be able to tell pretty easily if these are new bearings or not. I can tell it looks like that's a fully shielded bearing in there. No, the thing I didn't do. Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, that comes right off, and then our Woodruff key comes right out. That's nice to know. So yeah, that front bearing kind of looks brand new. Or new-ish. Rear bearing, gasket destroyed. So that needs to be taken care of here. So here now with this, okay, so this is all
as far as I can go here. And if you look real closely here, you can see this little tip here of the connecting
rod or crankshaft, crank pin, is what actually engages in this guy here, which is going to be the next most challenging thing to do. So I'm done with this. We're just going to push this piston out. Yeah, if somebody replaced the bearings in this, they certainly didn't clean this engine. So whoever that was is, you know, whatever. So this will all get cleaned up. So here's the part I was talking about that can be really challenging.
See this thing? I'm rotating it by turning this.
So this cap head screw threads into this. Once I take that thing out, then I can just tap this thing out this way. But the kicker is that the right size? No, it's not. The kicker is trying to hold this thing in place while you're trying to unscrew that. Where'd my other wrench go? When you're trying to unscrew this, is that the right size? Yeah, that's the right size. So this is where it gets interesting because you got to try to figure out how you're going to do this. And this might actually be something that I don't do in this video. I might, but so I've got a die or a punch here, and that's just not long enough. So it's too deep to get in here and use that. So that kind of sucks. So it's one of these things where you have to try it. I don't know if this is even the right size to fit in that thing. I need a little bit smaller punch. And sometimes, see, there's just not enough room to, you just have to kind of hold it and wedge it somehow and then hope you can. Okay, so I didn't get anything on there, and they just have to go back and do it looks like there's enough oil on it. May have to do the impact, heat, and then I'd really like to find a better way to grab that thing. But Even if I'd have left the rear housing on, it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have made it any easier. This is just one of those things where it just kind of is not the most pleasant thing to try to do, because you got to try and find a way to do this. Oh, let's see here. So if I heat this up, tap it, and then put some pliers on this, and use a lever arm, I might be able to do that. So this is what it's going to be. It's going to be one of these type of things where somehow you have to try to jam something in here to hold it in place. And it doesn't protrude out above this area here at all. I know it's hard to see that you can use going through here to secure it at all. So I think what I'm going to do here is maybe pause the video and wrap on this, get my vise out, put this on that Delron block, tap that thing a few times, heat it up, and then it would be better. I want to find a means to secure that before I start trying to reeve on that screw. In the past I've done something like this, and it's just less than ideal. I just don't know off the top of my head. I can't think of another better way to put something in there and hold it, because there's just not a whole lot of room to brace yourself with here. It's just one of those things. It's just tough to do. If I have some pliers, some vice grips already on this, and I can use as a lever to grab this, maybe it won't take quite so much effort to hold it in place. God, I don't know. That's just tough. So anyway, that's what we're left with. Once I get this screw out, then this wheel comes out, this thing comes out. Everything is ready for bearing removal at that point. Okay, so amazingly, this is going very well. I don't know that you're going to be able to see this or not, but I decided to use these angled pliers to get in here to kind of brace against that, in that groove. And I tapped it 3 times with a punch, and then I had the vice grips on this thing as a lever arm, and it just started turning. So there you have it. I still have to hold that thing until that screw comes out. Now there should be a washer underneath this screw. So there's our screw. And when it comes to this screw, I always set it aside and put it right back in there. So now let's see. I think it might be kind of warm. I think what I need to do is get a small punch. Tap this guy out. Yeah, he's coming out. There's that washer. Put that right there. At least the washer came out. I think I need a punch that's one size bigger than that. One size bigger than that. Okay, well, that'll come off. So that should come off like that. So it's got flats. In there, and this thing is shaped like that. So there, that's out. Now we can just tap this guy out again. Does he fit in that hole? And there is our little timing wheel thing. So what I always do here when I do this is I put the washer and the nut, or the screw, they went on that together, and I keep that little sub-assembly together. And then of course this
piece gets cleaned up.
So there you go. That's really all there is to it. So now I still have to figure out, remember, which way does this bearing come, or this is a different bearing, which way does it come out? Yeah, to me it looks like it goes out this way. So yeah, it looks like
there's nothing here holding it in, but if you look here, it looks like you can't see the entire part of the outer race, so it looks like this one goes out this way. This one may need to be cleaned up. It would make more sense that this goes in this way and comes out that way. So there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearings. So there you go. That's how you disassemble one of these FS90s. And now I got to get gaskets on order. I've got bearings on hand. And then we need to get this all cleaned up and get bearings removed and reinstalled.